Normally we do the pre-race stuff in the video here, but however, if you want to check out the pre-race stuff, that's in the first video. So now we were just going to pick up with the coverage of the second duel with the starting grid and then directly to the race. Winning the Aflac Pole Award here is Alan Kimmel in car number 88, with Eddie Johns, car number 55, starting in second. Shane Nargan, car number 32, starts in the third spot. Your defending winner of this duel. Mike Hogan comes in here second in points. He starts 6th, while his points rival Walter Youthen starts in the 17th spot. Keenan Forster making his NOVAR Verizon Cup Series debut. He will start in the 21st spot. The highest South Carolina Part-Timers Challenge driver to qualify for this race is Blake Curtis. He starts in the 30th spot. The other two are Wayne Goslin, who starts 36th, and Mike Harper in the 61, who starts in the 37th spot. And rounding out the field is Cody White in car number 22 and Shane Willis in car number 42. So as we get on, Alan Kimmel, car number 88, starts on the inside. He gets the green flag, and then we're underway. As Kimmel, who started, I believe, on the front row last year's event, as Eddie Johns, car number 55. Johns actually doesn't get to exactly the start. Kimmel actually has already cleared him, but Eddie Johns powers it in, very similar to how Kimmel did it last year, as the 55 of Johnson trying to get that lead, and Johns is going to lead the first lap. So how ironic, as Alan Kimmel started second in last year's race, got the lead on the first lap, as he starts on the pole in this year's event and doesn't lead the first lap. This race would just be a pure mess. We would have our first caution come out in lap number 10, as Tony Wider, Jay Honore, and Chris Clark would all send each other around, spinning in turn number 1. All three would continue on. Eddie Johns, car number 55, would continue to lead on would actually lead on this restart, with the 88 on Kimmel in second. Shane Nargan, car number 32, running in the second spot. Actually running in third, excuse me, with Alan Kimmel in the second spot. David Scott in car number 18, running in the fourth spot currently. And there's number 18, Conway Freight Dodge Charger. We have our next caution lap, number 21. Jan Honore, apparently not happy with Chris Clark, gets in, turned around the front straightaway. Blake Curtis in the 54 appears to get a piece of that as well in the number 54 Monster Energy Ford. Alan Kimmel would actually get the lead on the restart, although we had a few cars running ahead, as Eddie Johns is actually running in 30th now, despite being the first car leading the pack. Right now running in second in the 88 is the 66 of Jason Duke. Duke is right now running in second, with Matt Hamlin in the 28 running in the third spot. As we would have a little bit of incident right here, as Walter Green makes contact with CJ Gordon. Gordon would come back at the track and would get into Ethan Lettinger. That would set up our third caution of the race on lap number 32, as it set up the stack-up effect exiting out of turn number 4. Jason Duke, car number 66, led on the restart there, with Matt Hamlin, car number 28 in second, as the 88 Alan Kimmel is actually running in third, as Kimmel got by a couple of those cars while under that green flag run. Jason Duke, car number 66, has just been fantastic, I think, the past few weeks. He has run he actually finished third at the race at New Jersey. We would have third caution lap number 39. Casey Lester and Jamie Scott A would get together in the front straightaway. Jamie Scott A would be our first driver dropping out of the race due to damage. Jason Duke, car number 66, was out on the restart. As I mentioned, the 66 of Duke was leading, actually ran up front for most of the New Jersey race, finished third in that race, and actually could have given Steve race a 1-2 finish in that event had he not let Casey Lester gone by. The 28 Matt Hamlin's in second spot. The third place driver is still Alan Kimmel, car number 80, although he is stuck a little bit behind in traffic, as Duke in the 66 is and it still leads Kimmel in the 28, Matt Kimmel in the 28. Our fourth caution would come out. Kyra Youthen hits the pit wall, and points leader Walter Youthen turns her older sister upside down. I'm not sure how that's going to be handled in the dinner table later on tonight. Jason Duke, car number 66, still leads on this restart, with Alan Kimmel in the 88 now taking over the second spot, as Jason Duke in the 66, Chadwick Blake, Todd Piper all lapped down. They nearly made contact, and almost took each other right out in front of the field. So, however, here is Keenan Forster, Mike Hogan, and Brandon Green make contact. As I mentioned, Keenan Forster in his 33 is making his NOVAR Verizon Cup Series debut. He is actually the 2010 Gator GameStop Truck Series champion. There you see the caution was out because CJ Gordon hit the pit wall. Just in case we missed it, Gordon just runs into the pit wall, as he still actually had a clearance after what happened last year. The track officials said to clean that area up, but cars are still running into the pit wall. Jason Duke, car number 66, is still leading on this restart. However, Jake Carroll, car number 76, last week's winner, is now running in the second spot. Fusion Racing had a very strong showing in New Jersey, and now they're still showing it as the other car, which Scott Harper, is running in the fourth spot. Here is Blake Curtis in car number 54, the current South Carolina Part-Timers Challenge points leader, driving the number 54 for Mobile One Racing, for the actual Blake Curtis family racing. with Monster Racing, even though that car is sponsored by Mobile One. Curtis has actually not had the season he wanted despite being a potential favorite in the actual. Here's Mike Harper, car number 61 in the 61 Toyota. There you see Littinger sideways, but that does not bring out a yellow flag. He made contact with Max Rapon in the 77 as well, as the 66 of Mike Harper was just its victim there. Harper was the second South Carolina part-timer challenge driver running in this race, as we're going to see later on, as they see Littinger would get by the 61, and the 77 of Rapon would also follow suit. The other driver was Wayne Goslin in car number 62. Goslin is actually part of Fusion Racing and currently runs in the Kellogg Southwest Division, as I believe Goslin, that team I believe just won at the last race they ran, which was at Salt Lake City with Kenzie Jacobson. Mike Harper in car number 61 would get a lot less lucky as he gets turned by Mike Hogan, spun into the wall on lap number 72. That would bring out the yellow flag, as the 61 would continue on going. Jason Duke, car number 66, still leading on this restart, with Jake Killen still running in second. Alan Kimmel still running in third, with Scott Harper still running in fourth. As the 66 being challenged for Shane Nargan is, I believe, running in 25th. A couple laps down. Alan Kimmel in the 88 already making a challenge for second spot, and will take that second spot away from Jake Killen, car number 76. We would have another caution come out lap 79. Brandon Green had a really rough day and ends in the pit wall on lap number 79. Alan Kimmel retaking the lead due to caution flag pit stops with Ethan Littinger, car number 51, running in the second spot. Max Rapon in the 77 has taken over that third spot in the number 77 Blizzard Dodge Charger for Billy Garver Racing. Kimmel on the 88 is already pulled away to a decent sized gap over Ethan Littinger, the 51. Meanwhile, he and Max Rapon are still battling it out for that second spot as well. You see Chris Clark of the 56 is actually running a little bit off of pace. Jake Killen would go from good to bad with this caution as he gets turned into the outside wall. Scott Johnson of the 58 also collected. Jason Duke also got a minor piece of that as well, along with Scott Harper. So Fusion Racing just had their days turned bad here. Jason Duke would then retake the lead due to caution flag pit stops. Keenan Forster in the 33, surprisingly running in the second spot. In that 33 car, as I mentioned, Forster is making his NOVAR Verizon Cup Series debut, replacing Cameron Brooks, who has been suspended for a couple of races. Forster, who won the 2010 GameStop Truck Series Championship, actually believe he actually had a rough start here in the 2014 season when he ran in the pit wall, and now he's going to get himself turned from the field, and the 33's around. Caution flags out. Brooks, the 33 of Forster, slides. Jason Calasso spun into the outside wall. Let's take a look from Forster's perspective. Shane Nargan in the 32 is also going. There you see Jason Calasso in the 04 sliding across the track. As here he is. Well, let's see what happened. And he might have actually had contact from his own teammate Max Rapon. The 04, despite sliding it backwards, only gets minor damage in the rear end, as no other damage should be sustained from that contact. Ethan Littinger, car 51, will lead on this restart with Max Rapon in second, with Casey Lester in the 12 following in third, and Alan Kimmel in fourth. Littinger, who's just had the past 2 weekends in the Verizon Cup Series have just been bad for Littinger. Littinger, who crashed out at Boston while in contention to possibly get his 7th straight top 10 finish, while at New Jersey he just basically DNQ'd for the first time since Dentonville. However, now he is right now up in challenge trying to win this race here just a couple of weeks after those struggles. But Max Rapon, car number 76-7, will not give, just basically take the lead without ease, as Littinger was trying to battle him out, as Rapon tries the hot inside line with Ethan Littinger in the 51 battling. Kimmel and Lester are lurking there, as seeing that if the 77 and 51 take each other out, that might be an advantage, as Kimmel's had a strong car all day, while Lester has kind of just jumped himself into the picture. Rapon would successfully take over the lead there. We would not have a caution because on this lap, as Shane Harden would get turned by Jason Duke into the wall, Wayne Goslin will almost get into the back of the 59 Harden, so rough day for Harden. However, there was a caution for this, as Jason Calasso lunges into the 33 of Keenan Forster. Scott Johnson would get held up as a result of there. Max Rapon in the 77 would lead on this restart, but as Ethan tried to make another challenge, he would unable to, as Alan Kimmel and car number 88 would then try to take over that second spot from the 51 of Ethan Littinger, with the 12 of Casey Lester following behind in the fourth spot. Littinger and Kimmel's battle, as a result, will let Max Rapon in the 77 pull away from the rest of the field, as Kimmel would drive away, and that's the battle for second. Kimmel and Littinger would basically be struggling to get that second spot. Littinger would get a run. It actually got a really good run Going into turn number 3 and 4, Kimmel tries to clear him there, but not yet. But Littinger in the 51 still trying to get there. Kimmel's trying to get there. Cayce Ledger would actually get opened up by Damon Scott in car number 18, as he would fall under, try to get by the 12. That's not for position. Kimmel would try to get by the 51, still struggling for that second spot. As a result, Max Rapon, that's still actually making the gap separate, as they're going to be heading out of turn number 2. Damon Scott in the 18. There you see Chandler Blake, I believe, hit the wall and almost came down on a couple of cars right there, as Kimmel's trying to use that white line down there, as Cayce Lister is now trying to get back under the 18 of Damon Scott. However, he couldn't be able to do that. Littinger in the 51 doing a nice job holding the outside line and not basically surrendering positions, as the rest of the cars would try to get by. Littinger unfortunately would fail his battle with Alan Kimmel, as it's still battle. Kimmel will eventually get by, but actually Littinger would get by, but Damon Scott would get into Kimmel, and the 18 would be rolling just 2 times down the back straightaway. And Chandler Blake, I believe, got a piece of that as well. The 18 would continue on as a result. Jason Duke in car number 66 led on the restart, with Shane Nargan in car number 32 running in the second spot. Nargan's actually a lap down, as that's a big blunder there. As I believe the second place car will have to I can't really tell from there. We will have another caution lap from number 129. Mike Hogan, second place in the points. Hard hit into that outside wall. Hogan, who had a concussion at New Jersey. This is probably what he didn't want to see, as Jason Duke, car number 66, led on the restart with, I believe, the second place car being the 6th of Scott Harper, as Ethan Lifford and Max Rapon, I believe, are running 3rd and 4th. Walter Green would get into the back of Ike Cheese Jr. That would bring out another yellow flag on lap 137. Brian Kittleson, Wayne Goslin, and the 19 of Casey Hutto also got a piece of that as well, as Jason Duke, car number 66, led on the restart with Shane Nargan, car number 32, still behind him, as Jason Duke in the 66 would continue to lead the way, as he leads the single car train down the back straightaway, as they exit out of turn number 3 and about to complete lap number 143. We would have another caution come out on lap number 149. Chandler Blake turns Ronald Portland around. Portland slides back up the track. It's James Wilson Jr. and Jay Arnori, Walter Euthen, Blake Curtis, Shane Harden all pile in. Casey Hutto also gets a piece of that as well. But Jason Duke in the 66 would lead on this restart once again. However, unlike the past several restarts, while Nargan and Harper were still on order with Mark Vangillo, the 77 of Max Rapon, there you see running, I believe, the 5th car in line. Alan Kimmel in the 88th running in the 3rd spot, and Ethan Littinger running in 4th. Rapon would be able to run down the 66, and actually Rapon in the second half of this race would actually have the better car than Jason Duke in the 66. Rapon takes the lead quite easily here, as Rapon easily ran down the 66 and basically took the lead with relative ease. Duke in the 66 would try to fight back, but I believe, despite Jason Duke leading the majority of the race, that majority being under caution, as Rapon in the 77 started to pull away from the rest of the field. Duke didn't really have the car under green flag. However, his teammate Jake Killen would be involved in the final caution, the 16th, on lap 177. Mark Vangillo, Scott Johnson also got a piece of that as well, as the 76 would drop out of the race. Tough break for Jake Killen after winning 2 weeks ago at New Jersey. Max Rapon, car number 77, meanwhile, led on the restart. Jason Duke would immediately be challenged for track position by Shane Nargan at 32, and this would really help the 77 of Max Rapon. Rapon would start to pull away, but due to the combination of lap traffic that Jason Duke couldn't handle, and the 77 just being in a better car in the green flag stages of the race, despite Rapon currently leading just 54 of the laps, as Rapon in the 77, they're going to take the white flag this time by Max Rapon, looking for his first career NOVAR Verizon Cup Series win, and I believe Billy Garber Motorsports, I believe if they do successfully go to victory lane, they will be the first time since 2010 that the actual team has gone to victory lane. At that time, that was known as Rotfire Racing. And now coming out of turn number 3 and 4, Max Rapon in car number 77 holds off a late charge from Jason Duke, and he's going to score his first career NOVAR Verizon Cup Series victory here at Cayce. So Max Rapon is able to outrun Jason Duke in the final 20 laps to take his first career NOVAR Verizon Cup Series victory here at the Cayce Autosports Complex. He led 55 laps en route to his victory. Jason Duke, car number 66, finishes this race in second. Duke had the strongest car out of everybody in this duel, and actually he led the most laps in the entire duel, but yet failed to win the race. He led 101 of 200 to win that race, although the majority of that was under caution, as we had 80 caution laps that were run out of 200, so we only had 120 green flag laps. Ethan Linder, car 51, finishes this race in third after 2 bad races. He crashed out at Boston and then DQ'd at New Jersey, so a nice rebound for Ethan Linder, car 51, finishing third here at Cayce. Scott Harper in car number 6 finishes in the 4th spot, making Fusion Racing for the second race in a row to have 2 cars inside the top 5, as I believe the previous race they had 2 cars in the top 3, with one of them going to victory lane, but they nearly had another one go to victory lane with Jason Duke, car number 66, and now Scott Harper in car number 6, a very quiet run for that 6 car, finishing in the 4th spot. Alan Kimmel, despite showing the lap counter that he led 13 laps, he had a very strong car in car number 88 of Alan Kimmel in the Budweiser Chevy for DM Racing. Very strong car throughout the weekend, but finishes in the 5th spot, leading only 13 laps. Jason Calasso, another very quiet run, and his 3rd straight top 10 finish for car number 04 for Jason Calasso. So a very good finishing effort for the 04 Jason Calasso, his 3rd straight top 10 finish, and Calasso's creeping his way into the top 10 points, although he's not there yet, but if he can keep this up, he'll get there. Keenan Forster in his NOVAR Verizon Cup Series debut gets a 7th place finish, while many critics expected him to finish around the mid-20s in this race. He actually finishes his race on the lead lap, being the final car to do so. So what a finish for Keenan Forster. We'll see him the next race, which is at New York, since the Cameron Brooks suspension is worth 2 races instead of 1. So we hope Forster can at least be a contender in that race. Chadlow Blake, car number 15, a very quiet run for that 15. He was running a lap down for the majority of the race, but finishes this race in the 8th spot for car number 15. Case Lester, who ran up in front, but then faded later on in the race as he finishes in 9th, 1 lap down. And Walt Giethan, your points leader, going to possibly leaving this weekend after Mike Hogan had issues. Giethan will round out the top 10. He finishes 1 lap down in the 10th spot. So let's take a look at your point standings here, leaving Cayce. As Bolt Giethan in car number 8, he still remains his points leader, but now is a 39-point gap over Mike Hogan in car number 17. As Mike Hogan, car number 17, crashed out of this race, he finished 30th, while Ethan finished in the top 10, and that expands the gap between the 8 and the 17. Ethan Lettinger, car number 51, gains a spot over Shane Harden for the 3rd spot in the point standings. Gains spot. He is 54 points back. Shane Harden is 60 points back. He drops a spot to 4th in the point standings. As Scott Johnson, car number 58, he is 5th in the point standings. He remains there after this week, as he is 73 points back as the points leader. Casey Lester jumps 1 spot to 6th in the point standings. He is 85 points back. Chadley Blake, with his 8th place finish here, climbs 4 spots and back into the top 10 for car number 15. Chadley Blake, he is 109 points back. CJ Gordon drops 2 spots to 8th in the point standings. Gordon, after leading the point standings early, has slipped a little bit, but he is 110 points back in the points and is still in the top 10 for car number 48, CJ Gordon. Eddie Johns, Jake Kierland trade spots. Eddie Johns jumps a spot to 9th in the point standings. He has 113 points. And rounding out the top 10 is Jake Kierland in car number 76. He is 119 points back in the points leader. And now we take a look at the rest of the top 20. Damon Scott in car number 18 drops out of the top 10 and drops 3 spots to 11th. He has 123 points back. Jason Duke continues his excellent climb. He was 25th going into the New Jersey weekend. Leaving here at Cayce, he is 12th in the point standings. He gained 4 spots due to his 2nd place finish, and also leading the most laps in his duel. Jay Anonori in car number 01 is 13th in the point standings. She dropped the spot to 13th. Jason Calasso is 135 points back. He gains 3 spots to the 14th position. Alan Kimmel is 150 points back. He is 8th. He gains 8 spots, cracks into the top 20. Ike Jace Jr. car number 09 continues to fall after Ike Jace Jr. was, I believe, 4th in the standings at one point, has just tumbled down the standings. He has now dropped a spot to 16th in the point standings. Chris Carter, car number 56, drops 4 spots to 17th in the standings. He is 152 points back. He's actually tied with Ike Jace Jr. for that 7th for the 16th spot, and so is Shane Nargan in car number 52. He is 18th. He gains 2 spots to that position. 19th is James Wilson Jr. He is 4 points back. He drops a spot, and Kyrie Ethan drops 6 spots to the 20th position in the point standings. And now let's take a look at your race recap. There were 16 cautions for 80 laps. Jason Cayce was the high climber. He gained 32 spots. Jason Duke led the most laps with 101 of 200. There were 5 leaders for 8 lane changes, and the margin of victory was 3 seconds. The NOVAR Verizon Cup Series drivers will be off next week, as the main event for the NOVAR Racing Series will be the NOVAR Gatorade Series at Dakota Fairgrounds. The GameStop Truck Series will be at Blue Ridge. The Razor All-Americans will also return to the track, hitting at the USA International Speedway. The Lowe's Modified Tour will be racing at Richmond Speedway. And then the DHL European Tour will be racing at Esterel. The next time the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series drivers will hit the track will be the following week, where they will tackle the 2.25-mile Super Speedway in Albany, New York, the New York Auto Ring in Albany, New York. We'd like to congratulate our winners, George Davids and Max Rapon, on their victories in the duels, and we will see you in 2 weeks at the New York Auto Ring.